Hello guys, this is Bharat and I welcome you all to this session in which I am going to talk about loop control statements in Python. In our last session, we learned about while loops in Python. Before starting, let's take a look to the agenda for today's discussion. First of all, I will tell you about control flow statements in Python. After that, we will discuss types of control flow statements in Python. Further, we will learn about break statements, pass statement and continue statements in detail. And at last, I will sum up this session with practical implementation. I hope you guys are clear with the agenda and I suggest you to subscribe this channel for latest videos and updates. Now let's get started. Control flow statements. A flow control statement or control flow statements define the flow of execution of the program. There are three types of control flow statements. First is break statements, then we have continue statement, and at last we have pass statement. Now let's learn them one by one. First we have break statements in Python. The break statement in Python terminates the current loop and resumes the execution from the outside of current loop. That means the break statements are used to terminate the current loop and resumes the execution from the end of the loop. So now you might be thinking where to use this break statement. Now suppose you might face a situation in which you need to exit a loop completely when an external condition is triggered. So in such situations, break statements are used. Now let's practically implement this break statement. So I am in my Jupyter notebook. Let's see a very simple example to implement break statement. Suppose I want to print counting from 1 to 10. So to print counting from 1 to 10, we will write the code as for x in range 1, 11. Now this range is a function that gives us a range, or we can say it will give us a series of numbers from 1 to 10. And now in this for loop, we will simply write print x. Let's run it. See, it has given us the output from 1 to 10. It has printed the counting from 1 to 10. In this program, we haven't used this break statement. Now here the twist comes. Now I want to terminate this loop if the value of x becomes 6. So to do this, we will write a condition in for loop as if x equals to 6. If the value of x becomes 6, then simply break this for loop. So in this case, I want to terminate the loop if the value of x becomes 6. So here we are using the break statement. Now let's run this. See, it has printed the values from 1 to 5. Now what we have did here is we have printed values from 1 to 5 and we terminated the loop when this condition is satisfied. This condition states that if x is equals to 6, then this loop will be exited and the program ends. I hope you guys are clear with the use of break statements in Python. Now let's move on to continue statements in Python. So continue statement is opposite to that of break statement. Instead of terminating the loop, it forces to execute the next iteration of the loop. So the continue statements in Python are the opposite of break statements. They do not terminate the loop but forces the loop to execute the next iteration and skip current iteration. There may be a situation when you want to skip a part of the loop and start next execution. So in such cases, the continue statements in Python are used. Now let's practically implement the continue statement. For this continue statement, we simply write continue instead of break. Let's run it. See, it has printed values from 1 to 10, but it has skipped the value 6. You can see in the output, it has printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 is not printed. It has skipped the 6. Then it has printed 7, 8, 9 and 10. So this is the use of continue statements. Continue statements simply skip the current iteration and move to the next statement. But instead, in break statements, the break statement exits the whole loop, or we can say it terminates the loop. Now let's move to the pass statements. Let's see what are pass statements in Python. So the pass statement in Python is used when a statement is required synthetically but you do not want to command or code to execute. That means if there a situation comes where you do not want to write a code in a function or a class, or we can say a loop, but to make the syntax correct, we will use the pass statement. Pass statement can also be used for writing empty loops. Pass is also used for empty control statement, functions, and classes. Let's see practical implementation of pass statement. Pass statement. For example, if I want to write an empty for loop, so in this case we will use the pass statement. Let's write for x in range 1, 10. Now I do not want to write anything in this for loop. I want to make it empty. So to make it empty, we have to use this pass statement. We will simply write the pass keyword. Let's try to run it. See, it has been run very simply and it has not given any error. Now to cross verify this, let's remove this pass statement and run it again. Now see, it has given us the syntax error, that unexpected EOF while parsing. EOF means end of file. That means there is some unexpected end of file while passing this statement. So the syntax error has came here. Now to correct this syntax error, we have to write something in this loop, like we can write the print statement. But in this case I have told you that I do not want to print anything, or I do not want to write anything in this loop. So I can simply write the pass statement. So this will make it work correctly. I hope you guys are clear with the break statement, continue statement and pass statement in Python. This is all for today's session.